Rob Ellis, Tony Shields on this Monday, recapping the Eagles' 42-19 loss to the 49ers. All right, so couple things here, Tone. The touchdowns on 6 consecutive drives, the last time that happened to the Eagles was 1966 against the Cowboys. So we're going back some serious time here since that happened. So that's kind of where you start here. First 2 drives, they were -6. And then the Cowboys scored on every ensuing drive until they decided to take a knee at the end of the game. You think about that. That's from 14-11 in the second quarter until 5:19 left in the fourth quarter. They reeled off touchdowns of 85, 90, 75, 77, 75, and 48 yards, 49 points in 39 minutes. Reuben Frank, during that stretch, 49ers outgained the Eagles 452 to 153. That is being manhandled. That's being owned. See, that's the thing. I think there is a talent disparity on defense between the Eagles and the Niners.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
the disparity
especially at linebacker. No,
agreed.
No
but
question.
The talent disparity is not that great that as a team, you should get destroyed like that. Like that was just really horrendous all around. I think the Eagles are a pretty accountable team. I do. I think Nick Sirianni is a self-reflector. I think he looks in the mirror, and I think his team follows suit. I know Jalen Hurts is like that. I know Brandon Graham is like that. Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Kelsey, blah, blah, blah. I know those guys are like that. So I truly believe that this week will be about looking in the mirror and understanding not only did they not execute, they didn't show up with the intensity level they had to, and they weren't prepared properly by Nick Sirianni and his coaching staff. This was across the board letdown every way.
Yeah, the first 2 drives, right? You thought that, okay, this defense is flying around. But when you really dissected the key difference between those first 2 drives for the defense and the rest of the game is the pass rush wasn't able to get home anymore, or the pass rush stopped being as effective as it was before. And another key thing about it was the Eagles on defense, those first 2 drives, they were winning on first down. They were forcing loss of yards and all that kind of stuff. And the moment that stopped, the moment the Niners figured out what they wanted to do and they started winning first down, it was curtains. Yeah. There wasn't a point in that game where after that, there wasn't a point in the game where they were beyond 3rd and 5. You know what I mean? Like they were always in prime real estate to get the first down. And a team like the 49ers, that's exactly where they want to be. You know, the 49ers, they want to run the ball. They want to get their running game involved. They want to make sure they put Brock Purdy in the best position possible to convert third downs. They don't want Brock Purdy throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. They know who their quarterback is, and they understand in order for them to be as successful, they need to be in third and manageable. But that goes for any team, right? Philadelphia Eagles, offensively, they were in constant 3rd and long throughout the entire game. Yep. And they were completely incapable of winning first down. Too often, you're seeing 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 11, 2nd and 13. It was just the Eagles have real problems on first down. And outside of those first 2 drives on offense, it was almost like the coaches shot they load. You know what I mean? What were you seeing defensively from the Philadelphia Eagles? You know, because again, those first two instances for the defense seemed like they had something going. And then all of a sudden, it just disappeared.
Yeah. So I saw a lot of different things on defense. I saw a team that continued to struggle with anything that's quick hitting. That's been an issue all year. I saw a team that's really starting to trend in the wrong way against the run game, because when McCaffrey needed to get some yards, he got yards every single time. It was a lot of like 2nd and short, 3rd and short. Like I'll tell you, the biggest issue this defense has, they don't take the ball away much, but the bigger issue that they have is they are terrible in 3rd down. So yesterday, the Niners were 8 for 11 in 3rd down, which is 73%, and they were 1 for 1 on 4th down. So this has been going on with this team all year. This didn't just start last night. You won in spite of it against really good teams. But coaches are going to tell you about turnovers, are going to tell you about 3rd down. That's the first thing they point to. And The Eagles haven't been good at either one, but they're horrendous on third down defensively. It's funny. They're the opposite on third down offensively, although they were okay yesterday. But yeah, I mean, that's a huge issue, man. I think it's third down. And again, when they tried the blitz, Purdy picked them apart. When they didn't blitz, he was fine. Like, Tone, this was, I mean, on so many levels, they average 8 yards per play. Like, think about that. You're averaging
video game numbers.
You're always in second and short, third and short, or you're getting a first down on the very next play. 8 yards per play. That's gashed. That's straight gashed is what that is.
Yeah. I would love to pick someone's brain about, a defense can be so good on first down, second down. All of a sudden, third down, they just turn into pumpkins. What is that about? What is that? Is it because the opposing team is figuring out what you're trying to do? Is it a lack of execution? Is it the players falling back on their laurels, thinking that, okay, it's just automatic at that point?
You know what I think it is?
What is it? Why are they so bad on third down? Is it the third down play calling in particular? Like, why? Like, it seems like they're never in the best position on third down.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
Right. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't have an exact answer for you, but I think a couple of things. One, when you're blocking it up a little bit more to give your quarterback time, like you pointed out a little bit earlier, if the Eagles aren't getting home, the secondaries and the linebackers are simply not capable of covering well enough. So if you have it blocked up and you're letting your quarterback, throw clean, teams are having great success against you. So that's a problem. I think what you're seeing here is bad linebacker play, a secondary that's getting older in spot. I mean, think about it. You're over 30 at both your starting corners. Actually, is Roby 30? Roby's over 32, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So all three corners are over 30. Bayard's over 30. The only one who isn't is Blankenship. And Blankenship, right. He's at a point in his career and development where he's all over the place. He'll get burned, then he makes a play. I'll give him this. He's one of the few guys who really will hit you.
He's fearless. He's out of all those guys. He wants to lay lay the wood for sure.
So, but regardless, it's becoming more and more of an issue. And now I keep harping on this, but now that you can't stop the run either, it's like,
what are you?
Double whammy.
What are you at this point?
Yeah,
like if you
I don't
can't
know what
stop
their personality is.
Because we talked about this right last year. They were able to stop the pass to a degree. I mean, they were ranked top 5, top 3 in pass defense, but I don't know, for some reason it still didn't look like it. But nonetheless, statistically they were ranked top 3 in pass defense. This year, you're bottom of the league, and on top of that, now you're struggling to stop the run. Over the past 3 weeks, this defense is giving up an average of 162 rushing yards per game. Over the past 3 weeks. That goes against there was a point in the season where they were only giving up about 60 yards per game rushing. Now that's jumped all the way to 90. And at this rate, it's only going to get into the hundreds. So
they were number one by far. Nobody was close to them, right? Nobody was close to them.
Yep. Now Chicago's in the lead with 79. San Fran is 79 yards per game. Jacksonville 87. New England 88. And the Eagles are ranked 5th in 90. But in my opinion, that stat is a misnomer, or it's misleading, because look, you can have averages for the rest of the season, but what have you done? I like to pay attention to what you did the past 3 games more so you did the whole season, because teams evolve from week 1 all the way to week 13. Who you were in week 1 is not the same team you're going to be in week 13. Yeah. So I much rather pay attention to the last 3 game trends. And the Philadelphia Eagles right now, in the last 3 games, they're ranked in the bottom 4 of the league. They're ranked 29th, let me see this, 32, 31, 30. They're ranked 29th in the NFL over the past 3 games in rushing yards allowed. They've been one of the worst teams.
Yeah. $168, $173, $136 in the last 3 games on the ground. That's what they've given up. So it's not like I wish you could just say, hey, it's the pass defense, man. Run defense keeps keeping them in games or whatever, or vice versa. It's not. It's both. And again, I'll pull this out of from Ruben Frank's story today for NBC Sports Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Over the last 5 games, the Eagles have allowed over 1,500 yards and 15 passing touchdowns. That's the first time that has ever happened in franchise history. The average opposing, you listen to this, the average opposing quarterback during that stretch has gone 28 for 43, 306 yards, with half an interception and a 103.9 passer rating. That's the average. But the total is over 1,515 passing yards. They're a bad defense now.
They're historically bad.
Yeah, like this isn't
over
just
the past 3 games.
Yeah, they're trending. And granted, they played Kansas City, but Kansas City's defense or offense is not what it was. Kansas City's offense, if anybody who watched them last night, they're not what they were, man. This is not last year's Kansas City. But anyway, it's Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Niners who have taken them, apart during that stretch. But KC is not as good. Like, I'm trying to find where KC ranks offensively. KC is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th in scoring. So which is fine, but it's not special. So
it's nowhere near where they're used to being.
No.
Last night they only put up 19 points on the Packers.
Exactly.
And then against us, they only put up 17 points. So their offense clearly isn't what it used to be. Patrick Mahomes can only do but so much with what he's been given. But the fact of the matter is, this Philadelphia Eagles defense, man, they have real problems that aren't going to be solved overnight. And
by the way, Tone, do you know who's the #1 scoring team in football?
The Niners.
Cowboys, who they play next.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Cowboys
32.3 points per game.
40 points a game on, those. Yeah, so, yeah, they have real issues, man. And Dak is playing better than everyone's saying he's playing better than he's ever had before, statistically speaking. And you got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. Look, man, this is not going to get easier. This is not going to get easier, man. Then once the playoffs come again, the playoffs is an entirely different atmosphere. So again, we can rip this team all we want today, and we're going to do it for the rest of the week because this is all we have to stand on right now. But eventually, the playoffs are going to come and they're going to get in. But can they get the #1 seed? That's the biggest concern now because you had about 2 games breathing room against everybody. Now there's only 1 game, and you got the Cowboys next. This can get spooky really, really fast. So at this point, you borderline don't even control your own destiny anymore. They still do technically, numerically, they still control their own destiny. But they lose that Cowboys game, they don't. Now they got to hope for the Niners or the Cowboys to slip, and then you still got to travel to Seattle, beat them, and then you got the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants, which should be layups. But the way this defense is playing, man, I don't know if anything's going to be a layup at this point.
Yeah, you can't go into any game thinking it's a layup. The thing is too about about those last 3. The Giants are bad, no doubt. The one thing about the Cardinals is, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, they play everybody close.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
They sure do. And they got Kyler Murray back.
And Murray back presents its own set of challenges here.
He's mobile too.
Yeah, I think do I think the Eagles will win? Yes, I do. But do I think it's the cupcake that maybe and me too, have made it out to be? I don't know that it is. But that's, look, you worry about that. You still got to get through Dallas and Seattle before we start worrying about that. But just you look at some of these numbers, Tone. They allowed 146 on the ground. McCaffrey did what he does, 17 for 93. That's 5.5 yards per carry. He caught 3 for 40, and he scores like he always does. Purdy, 19 of 27, 314 yards, 11.6 average, 4 touchdowns, no picks, a 148.8 passer rating. That's after a slow start for 2 series.
That boy's good. That
He
boy's
is good,
man. He's good.
He's good. And then you go to Debo, Bradbury's trash and all the talking he did. 4 catches, 116 yards. That comes to a 29 average. And I would love, and I'm sure somebody's dug it up, and I'll see if I can find it. How many yards after the catch Debo had?
Oh my God!
Tackles.
I could probably tell you that.
It is unbelievable that it was just men against boys with him just throwing guys off of him in the secondary, man. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And it wasn't just Debo. It was Debo. It was Ayuk. It was the running backs, McCaffrey, et cetera, just breaking poor tackles. And I get it. They're good. They're good. This isn't just the Eagles were terrible. That's part of it. And they're good. So I'm not taking anything away from them. But my God, man, I mean, this was just domination.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find those Jaguars because, yeah, it was pretty bad. was pretty bad, man. Deebo Samuel, he backed up everything that he meant. He meant what he said, and he came back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
give credit where credit is due, man.
All right, while you look that up, so I'll throw a
simple.
couple other things at you while you search for that.
Mhm.
Mention the 6 touchdown drives. Now they came in a variety of different ways. You're going to see 85, 90, 75, 77, 75, and 48 and think they were these just long, methodical drives. Some of them were long drives, but others were poor tackling, big chunks of yards, which allowed you to go down the field quickly, even though you didn't have ideal field position. And if you take away, we keep harping on this, but if you take away the first 2 drives of the game, it felt like the Niners always had the ball. It doesn't necessarily look at like that with the time of possession, but that is the way it felt just watching. And you already had an Eagles defense that was tired going into the game because they played an overtime game the week before. The last thing you need is for them to be on the field. Again, the time of possession, the Eagles had the ball longer than the 49ers because these long drives went pretty quickly.
Listen to this, man.
Yeah.
He had 100. Okay, so he had yards after the catch.
Yeah.
He had 116 yak yards.
Okay, so that's what he had receiving. Yeah, but I should have said point after contact. I would be curious. I don't know if you can find that.
Yards. Let me see.
Yeah, yards after contact. So
right.
yak in that sense. But I don't know that was.
All right. Well, okay. See, it gets interesting because they only talk about yards at the contact in the running game. They don't really show it in the receiving game. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Nope.
How about McCaffrey rushes after contact? Is that there too? Because there were quite a few.
I can find that. Now I know I can find that.
Okay, I thought
ultimately it was look, man. No matter how we slice this thing, man, it was all time bad.
Let me give you one more too. One more just on this. They've allowed 13 touchdown passes on third down. That's the worst in the league. That's an unbelievably bad stat. 13 touchdown passes on third down this season through 12 games. So that's more than a touchdown per game on third down. Just third down.
Okay.
That's
really quickly.
Yeah.
For Christian McCaffrey, I think it's more telling. See, you know what I think? I think they're still compiling these stats because
could be.
The game was just yesterday. So what I'm noticing is for both Deebo and him, some of the stats are just missing. Okay. So I don't think they've updated it quite yet. But nonetheless, though, I think we can all agree that a lot of those guys, like there were moments where Deebo went untouched.
Oh,
untouched.
100%.
There were moments where Christian McCaffrey, there was one run Christian McCaffrey had where he was it was almost like he was juking midair. Like I'm like, yo, this dude is crazy. Like how is this guy was made in the lab? Like, again, man, they had real concerns on the defense side of the ball. And I know we're talking a lot of defense right now, and we're going to talk.
We're getting to the offense next.
Yeah. In the next segment. So I definitely want to.
They're not getting off the hook, by the way. I'm not letting them.
No, not at all. I have some choice words, for Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni in this offense, man. I'm looking at Sean Desai as a guy who has been trying to do the best he can with what he's been given. But there were just certain situations I thought to myself, what are we doing out here? What are we trying to accomplish? Again, we talked about it earlier. If the pass rush is ineffective, everybody else looks like they're JV guys.
Yes.
Howie Roseman is going to have a hell of a job to fix this defense in the offseason because it's not going to change. It's not going to like this defense as we know it from a talent perspective, you guys, is not going to change. So get used to it. Mm-hmm. The only thing we can hope for is better execution and favorable matchups. That's the only thing you can hope for at this point because Darius Slay is not going to get any faster. James Bradbury is not going to get any faster. Kevin Byard is not going to get any faster. None of that stuff is going to change. So, we just have to believe that they can find a way to right the ship and execution can be can be laid out better. But this defensive line, man, I think they're running on fumes, man.
I think you're right. And it's troubling because you're not, other than Fletcher Well, Fletcher and BG, you're not particularly old there. I mean, Carter Davis, are they hitting like rookie-ish walls, even though Davis is in his second year? I don't know. I also think you've played now, 3 games and was it 13 days, whatever. You played a lot of football lately, and your opponents, and unfortunately, the same thing applies this week with Dallas. The Niners are coming off 10 days, and the Cowboys are going to come off 10 days rest. So you just got to suck it up, man. You really are. You just got to deal with it. They have allowed 27 passing touchdowns this year, Tone. That's the second most. The only team that's allowed more are the Commanders. So they're in some unsavory company, to say the least, with what's been going on defensively. Like, I don't know that people realize. I think because they've been winning the last couple of weeks, but
winning is a great deodorant.
It's great deodorant. Really bad. It is. It is, man.
No, he didn't just say that. Steve-O. Steve-O, thank you for donating to the channel. We're so grateful for you, buddy. Thank you for taking some money out of the piggy bank and showing love to us. We're grateful for you, buddy. Don't get it twisted. We're grateful for you, buddy. But they were holding back. I think I think the Niners were holding back. They could have ran it up. Mm-hmm. Remember, they benched Purdy like in the last 5 minutes. And then they put in Sam Darnold. So I don't know if you're trying to be sarcastic, but I pray to God you're trying to be funny. Because my God, that was bad. That was bad. They weren't holding. I wish that were the case. But no, they weren't. Trust me, they weren't. It was just that kind of day. Sometimes you just have to admit it. Sometimes it's just they got killed. There's no excuses. It is what it is. I believe green as much as they come. Rob, you know how I give it up.
Yeah,
I'm an Eagles fan. You and I, we grew up in this city. Yeah. So we really lived this and breathed this.
No doubt.
That was truly hard to watch yesterday. It was so bad. I was like, you know what? Let me throw a load in the laundry. I'm not watching. I just start doing other things while the game was on. You know what I mean? I start cooking dinner a little bit. I start putting stuff in the laundry. I'll start preparing. I'll start preparing for my little trip. I've never been so disinterested in the game before in my life. Like it was
hard to watch.
It was hard to watch because it was almost like watching somebody get a swirly, and they just couldn't. They were gasping for air. Help! And no one was helping. Imagine getting a swirly in front of the world, and no one can help you.
It was
no
tough.
one. Just imagine that imagine being in a stadium and there's one toilet in the middle of the logo and there's a bully just giving you a swirly in front of 60,000 people. Imagine that. That's what it looked like.
It did feel like that. Yeah, it did. All right, let's dig into the offensive side of this because we have hammered the defense and rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
The offense gets it next, so we will dig into that and the shortcomings there and what needs to be fixed when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Tone to Shields. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Jim Murray, Principal Financial Group, because I could tell you from personal experience that it was a challenge to find the right person to invest my hard-earned savings with. And I found Jim Murray in Principal Financial Group, and I don't want you to go through what I went through, whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review. You might have a small business and you need help with your employee benefits. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollers with Jim, and I couldn't be any happier. And let's face it, you may not be a financial expert. I'm not, certainly. Therefore, there's a lot of things that I don't understand, that I have questions about. And whenever I reach out to Jim, he's always there. He's always available on call to answer my questions. Or if I drop him an email, he gets right back to me. It's one of the great things about Jim. You can give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. Or you could email him as well, Murray, MURRAY, .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.